Hello everyone, welcome back to PC Species. And despite the fact that you probably do not like looking at my face a lot, I am still back in your feed with the review of the new AMD RX 9070 and 9070 XT. As always, we are going to start with the benchmarks. So let us just get to it. We'll start with Counter-Strike 2 1440p medium settings, RTX 5070 Ti. Now, before I start, I'll let you know that I've used the RTX 5070 Ti as a scale of 100% and the rest of the cards are based on that. So, the 9070 XT is 9% slower than the 5070 Ti and the 9070 is 7% slower than the 5070. We move on to Counter-Strike 2 4K medium settings. The 9070 XT is 16% slower than the 5070 Ti and the 9070 is 8% slower than the 5070. Then we move on to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 1440p extreme settings. The 9070 XT here is 22% faster than the 5070 Ti and the 9070 is a whopping 32% faster than the 5070. Then we move on to Call of Duty Black Ops 4K extreme settings. The 9070 XT is 19% faster than the 5070 Ti and the 9070 is 33% faster than the 5070. Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty 1440p high quality, no ray tracing. So 9070 XT is 1% faster than the 5070 Ti and the 9070 is 12% faster than the 5070. Now we move on to the same game at 4K. The 9070 XT is 3% faster than the 5070 Ti. The 9070 is 15% faster than the 5070. Now we move on to Hogwarts Legacy 1440p high quality. The 9070 XT is 4% faster than the 5070 Ti and the 9070 is 7% faster than the 5070. Same game at 4K. The 9070 XT is 7% faster than the 5070 Ti and the 9070 is 18% faster than 5070. Now, before we move on to the ray tracing benchmarks, I'd just like to point out that AMD is doing really well in rasterization. Now, there are a lot of games where it loses out, but there are a lot of games it wins out as well. Now we move on to the ray tracing benchmarks. And I'd again just like to point out that for ray tracing, I'm using average FPS and not percentages, because using percentages in this case skews the numbers a lot. So I don't want to do that. So this is just going to be average FPS from now on. So Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty 1440p ultra ray tracing and quality upscaling. The 5070 Ti gets us 74 FPS, 9070 gets us 68 FPS, 58 for the 5070 and 57 for the 9070. Phantom Liberty 4K ultra ray tracing and quality upscaling, 41 FPS for the 5070 Ti, 36 for the 9070 XT, 31 for the 5070 and 31 for the 9070. Now in Alan Wake 2, AMD does get beat up a little. So 5070 Ti gets us 56 FPS, 36 FPS for the 9070 XT, 39 for the 5070 and 31 for the 9070. And this was at 1440p, high quality, high ray tracing, quality upscaling. We move on to 4K. Again, in most of these titles at native resolution without any FSR or DLSS, most of the times the FPS numbers that you're getting makes the games unplayable. That is why I'm using FPS here. So 5070 Ti gets us 31 FPS, 9070 XT gives us 19 FPS, 5070 gives us 22 FPS and 9070 gives us 11 FPS. The last game that we have is Black Myth Wukong 1440p, very high quality, very high ray tracing and quality upscaling. The RTX 5070 Ti gives us somewhat playable frame rates at 57. The 9070 XT is at 30, 5070 at 46 and the 9070 at 25. At 4K, Black Myth Wukong, all of these cards are nearly unplayable. So 31 FPS for the 5070 Ti, 15 for the 9070 XT, 25 for the 5070 and 8 for the 9070. Now, these were our gaming benchmarks, and again I'd like to point out that while AMD is still trailing to Nvidia when it comes to ray tracing, they have made some big strides and I'm really impressed with it. Now, there are some frequent commenters on our small channel as well. So this is for Anand Bhai, who asked us for productivity benchmarks. So this is UL Procyon or Procyon, whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is called, image generation. And these are the points scored by these graphics cards. So 5070 Ti gives us 3890 points, 9070 XT 2646, 5070 2946, and 9070 2216. Same benchmark for text generation, and here too AMD loses a lot. So 4465 for the 5070 Ti, 2217 for the 9070 XT, 3600 for the 5070, and 1867 for the 9070. Now, Puget Bench Premiere Pro. Again, the scored points, higher is better. 5070 Ti is 13583, 9070 XT is 12234, 5070 is 13328, and 9070 is 12226. So in this particular benchmark, AMD is doing all right. It is not as far behind Nvidia as it is in other benchmarks, productivity benchmarks. So Blender, again, another department where AMD loses a lot. Now this is the time required to render the particular scene. So here lower is better. 5070 Ti takes 49 seconds. 9070 XT takes 1 minute 35 seconds. 5070 takes a minute, and 9070 takes a minute and 40 seconds. So Anand bhai, despite the RDNA 4 cards being really good in gaming, they are still not for you. Now we move on to the prices, and again I'd like to point out another commenter, I think Saurabh bhai. So he commented that I should take a screenshot that all the AMD cards are going to be around 90,000. So you're not wrong. Technically, there are some cards which are priced at 90,000, but then we were not wrong either. And there are some really well priced cards here. And I'd just like to point out that these are the cheapest ones I found on the internet. You may find them cheaper at your local retailer, but these are the cheapest that I could find. So the 5070 Ti one-click OC from Galax, 1 lakh rupees. Sapphire Pulse AMD 9070 XT OC for 77,550. Inno 3D 5070 Twin X2 for 62,000, and Sapphire Pulse AMD Radeon RX 9070 at 65,000. Now, the 9070 is priced all right based on the MSRP. The 9070 XT is slightly higher. I wish there was a non-OC card that was around 73 or 74K. That would have been really, really nice. But now, as we always do, I'll also take you to the websites. So this is SCL Gaming. Here's where I found the cheapest 5070 Ti for 1 lakh rupees. This is Prime ABGB. The cheapest 9070 XT I found, 77,550. Cheapest 5070 I found at TPS Tech, 62,000. And cheapest 9070 for 65,000. About the verdict here. So AMD did really, really well, at least with the 9070 XT. It is still trailing behind the 5070 Ti, but just imagine the price difference. That is nearly 23,000. So if you care just for gaming, I'd say that the 9070 XT is fantastic value and you should get it. About the other two cards here, the 5070, it is really poor value at 62,000 rupees, and the 9070 at 64,990. Again, like I said, it was too close to the 9070 XT. So I am expecting in the near future decent discounts on the 9070, and that might make it a better value, but at this price it is not. If you're looking for something under 60,000 rupees, I'd say you go for the 4070 Super. If you're looking for something over that, the 9070 XT is exceptional value. Now, what I want to do here is that probably in the next week, now that we are done with the reviews of all the new graphics cards that have come out, in the next week, I'm probably going to make a video about what graphics card you should go for in different price tiers. So if you like the content, please like the video. It helps us a lot. And if you're looking forward to the content that we make, and we make a lot of this kind of stuff, if you're into PC gaming and PC hardware, please subscribe to the channel. Maybe we'll be able to offer you a better value, at least better value than the 5070. So that is it for this one, and we'll see you in the next one.